morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending, of course, from where you're hearing my voice from. This is the Biafra Golden Child, and I'm really happy, very happy, highly delighted, of course, to interact with us this new month of July 2025. You know, oh, it's a pleasure to interact with you all. Hope the new month has started well with you. Hope things are moving smoothly. Hope, of course, we're all looking forward to a positive resolution of the trial of our Muslim leader, Mazen Kanu. Yeah, so how you guys doing? Yeah, good to know you're doing good. Yeah, just at the last Sunday service, here in Abuja, I was accosted by, a good friend of mine who is a member of the Ohaneeze NDIGBO group. That is a very leading member, one of the very senior executives. When he saw me, of course, after we, exchanged greetings and all that, he called me and said, "Look, sir, with all due respect, my dear good friend, you are an intellectual a lot of us look forward to. And some of us who are privy to the fact that you do these audios, we like what you say, we like the way you call a spade a spade. Yes. We like the fact that you hit the nail right on the head without unnecessary, rigmarole rolling. Yes, you hit it right on the head. But we want to draw your attention, sir. We have often listened to you and we see the way and manner you eulogize Simon Ekpa. You talk about him, calling him. You accepted the fact that, his self-acclaimed uh, uh, prime ministership, you continue to call him that. You continue to refer to him as the prime minister of the Biafra, United States of Biafra, the prime minister of, you know, uh, Biafra regional government and exile. Please, sir, with all due respect, we want you to know that we do not in any way acknowledge Simon Ekpa as one of us. We do not see him as someone to be celebrated, in anything concerning Biafra. Rather, we see him as a renegade, as one person who unilaterally, tried to usurp, you know, the Biafra that we all are fighting for. So, in case you don't know, Simon Ekpa, became a renegade. Yes, he was duly, appointed. He interacted with Mazen Kanu, and he was part of Mazen Kanu's effort, especially doing Radio Biafra, and especially most of the international or diaspora activities concerning the Biafra movement. But we want you to know that at a point, he went his own way. At a point, he was over carried by pride and prejudice. At a point, he, unilaterally discarded anything about, the Ipob, discarded everything about the Ohaneeze and Igbo, and he became militant and strictly, fighting his own agenda. And of course, they equally reminded me that you can imagine that at one point in time, Mazen Namdekano had to send a message to him, even while inside the DSS detention camp. Mazen Namdekano sent a message to him via, his lawyers, including Chief Aloysius Jumako, then Namdekano's lead lawyer and lead lawyer for IPOB. But, it is on record that this Simon Ekpa you talk about, you eulogize and you talk so, vibrantly about, totally ignored Mazen Namdekanu's plea that he sends a message directing that this stay at home, on Mondays should cease. And the gentleman went on to tell me, so look, sir, we want you to use your good office, especially these opportunities you have, to communicate with Biafrans and address them. We want you, to, find a way to correct this anomaly. We believe and strongly too, Simon Ekpa, is a saboteur. We believe strongly that Simon Ekpa does not mean well for Ipob and for NDIGBO. You yourself will gladly, if you are sincere, sir, I know you're sincere, you would quickly remember that even when he was caught by the Finnish authorities, he said he claimed he was a content creator. For somebody who could deny his people because, of course, he was arrested, he was being investigated, is not the highest level of betrayal. And so, sir, I just thought, being an associate of yours and somebody who know you have, a passion for Biafra, and you well, well entrenched in issues concerning Biafra. I want you to please note that Ohaneeze and Debo, the Ipob, and the whole lot of us will never, never forgive Simon Ekpa, because we feel he betrayed us. We feel he tried to usurp the powers of our Mazemon leader, Mazen Namdekano, and we want you to know that, it will never be well for him, because we feel betrayed, we feel despised by this young man who unilaterally, totally, almost took the struggle, hijacked the struggle to himself, enriched himself, and at the end of the day, denied the people of NDIGBO. He said, look, if you doubt it, even Chief Loisius Sitimako, the lead lawyer for the Ipob group, does not want to have anything to do with Simon Ekpa. That is why when the government of Nigeria is saying they want to bring him back, they want him extradited, we all came out vociferously saying, bring him back, let him come and face his charges, let him come and face the atrocities he has committed from Finland under his directives, and down to the southeast. So please, please, I would want you, to show transparency by at least highlighting our position. Yes, Simon Ekpa does not mean well for Biafra. Simon Ekpa is a renegade. Simon Ekpa has betrayed NDIGBO by unilaterally and selfishly, hijacking a struggle that belongs to every Igbo man. He unilaterally hijacked it. He appointed so-called executive members on his own, unilaterally and undemocratically. We have rejected him. Ohaneeze and Igbo have rejected him. The Ipob, as a group, have rejected him. And well-meaning Igbo organizations and unions have rejected him. He's on his own as far as we're concerned. So please stop calling him Prime Minister. Please stop eulogizing him. And if possible, stop talking about him. But just do this for us. Let it be on record that you let people know what or how we feel about Simon Ekpa, that he's a betrayer, he's a saboteur, and he attempted to hijack, the Biafra struggle for his own personal and selfish reasons. Yes. Remember, like I told you, he totally ignored, a directive from Mazemon leader Mazen Namdekano when he said, stop this sit at home. It is not serving any purpose. It is harming our people. It is harming business, and it is distorting, the peace and security of Igbo land. Sir, I'm looking forward to hearing, this audio from you. Yes, and please, we hope to hear it soon, because we don't want to make a counter audio or anything that you might find offensive, because we know you're highly placed and we know you mean well for the struggle. Yes, you're just being very liberal, in your, uh, attitude towards the struggles of people under Biafra, the struggle of people who claim to the efforts of people who claim to be working for Biafra. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, fellow freedom lovers, permit me. Let me crave your indulgence, please. I might not want to disclose the name of this personality, but of course, the views he has, very clearly elaborated, the views he has clearly, pointed out are not his personal views alone. This is what Ohaneeze and Igbo, this is what Ipob, this is what a whole lot of Igbo organizations have always maintained. They seem to preach, they seem to believe that Simon Ekpa, at one point, hijacked the struggle well in Finland, Latin Finland, and, quote and unquote, you know, uh, planned a coup. He actually planned a coup, to remove Mazen Namdekano as a maximum leader and hijack the whole thing selfishly. Yes, this is their view, but guess what, ladies and gentlemen? This is not my view. This is my own view, is totally lacking and bereft of truth. Excuse me. If you ask me, yes, he pointed out where, yes, our Muslim leader sent a message to uh, Simon Ekpa, our Prime Minister, sent a message to Simon Ekpa. I guess it was around October last year, just before, while Simon Ekpa Njoku was making elaborate preparations for the declaration of the, and the inauguration of the, redeclared United States of Biafra, when he chose 2nd December 2024 as the date in history when this redeclaration will be made. Yes, we did. I know I created an audio here where we did report, yes, that Mazen and Sam Kanu through his lawyers, especially through Chief Aloysius Ejimakor, that he told, yes, he sent a message to uh, Prime Minister Simon Ekpa to the fact that, look, I think it's enough for this sit at home debacle. Please, please do stop it. I don't think it's achieving much purpose, any positive purpose anymore. Yeah, I think we should stop it because it has sent a lot of, you know, uh, bad feelings and ill feelings against our struggle. Our people are suffering. Their goods and services are being destroyed when they disobey this sit-at-home order. Please, Simon, give a directive. Tell your people to stop harassing anybody who comes out and sits at home there. Let it end once and for all. This is my position. I speak to you. I speak to you as, your leader. Ladies and gentlemen, we will all recall, that at that point in time when this message was given to Simon Ekpa, to our indefatigable Prime Minister, I took pains to reiterate his response. What Simon Ekpa told uh, our Muslim leader, in one of his audios, what he said, and which we quoted verbatim, was the listen. You said you're bringing this message from my own, my leader, from my godfather, from my principal, Mazi Nandekanu. But it is not his voice that I hear. It is not his picture that I see. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Biafrans and indigbo, let me say this. Let me make this blatantly clear. Quote, I, Simon Ekpa, will only declare that the sit at home should stop. The shoot at home should discontinue in the southeast only and only if Mazen Namdekano comes to meet me one on one in flesh and blood and tell me to say, look, bro, it's time to stop this. Stop it. Quote and unquote. Ladies and gentlemen, I, Simon Ekpa, I want to affirm and reaffirm that if Mazen Namdekano is released unconditionally, comes to meet me here in Finland, and we sit one-on-one, I'm touching him, he's touching me, we're looking at each other eyeball to eyeball, we're breathing across each other's face, and he tells me, Simon, my dear Simon, please, I want you to cease, to cease this sit-at-home order in the Southeast. Ladies and gentlemen, I, Simon Ekpa, will instantly make a declaration that the sit-at-home order must cease forthwith. Because I am sitting live and direct with my free and independent leader and godfather, freed of any accusations, freed of any charges unconditionally. Then and only then will I make such a declaration. Ladies and gentlemen, Simon Ekpa went on to explain that, listen, so far they are still holding my leader, my principal, my godfather, in the DSS dungeon, in the zoo, with clueless government, with hashtag government of hardship. So far, this zoo that hates my fellow Biafrans with a passion, so far, this zoo that makes my people suffer and live in abject poverty and ruin, so far, this zoo that makes business very expensive for my people, with quadruple taxes, back to back, very expensive transportation and haulage costs, back to back, expensive flight costs, because of course they will not put any international flight who can board straight from the southeast, any part of the southeast, straight to our business conglomerates in China and all over the world, in Dubai, in Japan, to anywhere. So far, they make it difficult for this zoo called Nigeria. So far, they have not created any train railway system that can ferry goods right from the east to any part of Nigeria for us to move our goods and services. So far, there's no seaport, there's no waterways that have been created in the southeast. We have to go to Lagos, Apapa ports, we have to go to Port Harcourt ports, we have to go to Kano airport to do business. So far, the zoo has refused to recognize the Biafrans as human beings and the people who have deserved to live, who should drink water and drop their cup without any, encumbrances. I, Simon Ekpa, will not, and will never declare a sit-at-home order to my lieutenants in Nigeria. Unquote. Ladies and gentlemen, I think any well-meaning individual, any well-meaning Biafran should not have interpreted what our veritable, highly articulate Simon Ekpa was saying at that point in time. It should never have been misconstrued. And that is where the Ipob is holding him. That is where Ohaneeze group is holding him. That is where a whole lot of them are saying, if you are truly a disciple, you are a disciple of Mazen Namdekano. If you truly owe your allegiance to Mazen Namdekano, if you truly are a genuine son of Biafra, if you mean well for Biafra, if you have respect for the cheers, ndezes, and dignitaries and personalities that dominate Ohaneeze and NDIGBO, if you have respect for personalities, great personalities that are at the echelon of the executive pair of Ipob, if you respect NDIGBO generally, then you should have said, okay, my leader, I've heard you, I've heard what you said through your lawyers. Instantly, I concur. Right now, henceforth, no more sit-at-home declaration from me. If you have done that, yes, we would have known that truly, truly, you are loyal. Your loyalty would never have been doubted, but you didn't. And so that is where, because of this, they have all come out to say, crucify Simon Ekpa, crucify Simon Ekpa. And when they said, when the government, of course, the clueless government, local government, came out to tell Finland, motivate Finland, bribe Finland, give Finland all available resources just to get them to nail, to arrest, and to detain, and if possible, extradite Simon Ekpa. The same Ohaneeze and NDIGBO, the same Ipob group, these same people who have this hatred now for our brother, Simon Ekpa, they are the ones who came out shouting, hooray, 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 finally, finally, Simon Ekpa has been arrested, that renegade, that sycophant, he has been arrested. Bring him down to Nigeria. Bring him here. Bring him, let him come here and face triple punishment. They never wished their brother well. And that was totally, totally unfortunate. Because we have all known, we all know the local, adage. I mean, everybody knows it's not an adage anymore. It has become a dictum in life when you are told that blood is thicker than water. Our own people, our people of indigenous people of Biafra, Ohaneeze and NDIGBO, all of them came out and they looked. They went hobnobbed, integrated with the persecutors, the Zulu government, the same people who are persecuting the Biafrans, the same people who say we're conquered people, the same people who are treating us like a defeated nation, the same Nigeria that regard us as a people who are below any other region in the country. Our own brethren, kith and kin in Ohaneeze and NDIGBO, in Ipob, they went and they were celebrating, they were clapping, they were clinking glasses of champagne, screaming to high heavens, shouting their voice hoarse, celebrating that Simon Ekpa has been arrested. He has been detained. The Finnish authorities are going to, they are working with Nigerian government. They're going to extradite him. We will deal with him. We will, by the time we finish with him, he'll be no more. By the time, the government, the Zulu government deal with him, he will be history. They were celebrating. Ladies and gentlemen, I tell you the truth. I was hot. My heart, was rending in pieces. I wept because, of course, I looked at our people. I looked at those who were our leaders, those who should have known better. And they came right in the public and they were washing our dirty linen, calling our indefatigable, fearless, a man who made sacrifice of his life for Biafra, a man who had a good job as a politician in Finland, a man who, had done so well for himself and his family, but decided against all odds to sacrifice everything, everything, including his life, including his achievements, including his family, to pursue, vigorously pursue the redeclaration of the USB, United States of Biafra, worldwide. In fact, he had organized a convention. Convention was ongoing. He had appointed lawyers, internationally reputable lawyers, to fight the cause of Biafra. He had put people in place, including appointing a deputy prime minister in the person of Dr. Ngozi, so that things will move. Things will move forward. But it's a shame. It's a shame, unfortunately, he was betrayed by the people he loved so much. He was betrayed by those he thought were his kith and kin. He was betrayed by people who misunderstood, his steadfastness and vigor and pragmatic postulations for selfishness, for self-serving purposes. A man who said there should be no movement on Mondays. Let everybody know that yes, Biafra has a voice, that we don't belong to the zoo government that has nothing to offer us. We don't belong to the local government that treat us like second fiddle. We can equally have our own government, a regional government right in Finland, and we can have a voice in the security architecture of the Southeast. We can have a voice in the social milieu day by day in the Southeast. We can equally make proclamations right from here, and it impacts the Southeast. So that those people who are in the zoo will know that Biafra has a voice, a militant voice. That will mean what we're saying. That the days of pleading, begging, yes, the days of cutting your nose to spite your face is over. This time, let us tell them, let them know. If they don't respect Biafra, if they don't respect the people of the Southeast, let them know that there are people who are willing, ready to sacrifice their life and property to ensure that the redeclared United States of Biafra becomes a reality. Ladies and gentlemen, such a man who made such a supreme sacrifice, I don't think it is apposite. I don't think it is appropriate. I don't think it is in any way commensurate to treat such a man with, derision, treat such a man with despicable hatred, the way our people are doing, especially people in the independent people of Biafra, indigenous people of Biafra, the Ohaneeze group, and different state governors declared him, a witchcraft. Governors said he was all kinds of things because, of course, people listened to him rather than to fake governors who are only interested in the, coffers, in the gold linings in power. Governors who sell their mother for a meal of porridge. Yes, the governors became jealous because when they give a directive in their states, people don't listen. But when the Biafra regional government in exile makes a declaration from there, everybody pays attention. Jealousy and envy conspire together to make hatred very, very deep and pathological. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to be bold to say, I love Ohaneeze and NDIGBO. I love the indigenous people of Biafra. I love most Igbo groups that, of course, are all championing the same cause, the liberation of Biafra. They respect, maximum respect for the Southeast and people of Biafra descent. All of us who are fighting for the same agenda. We want the Igbo man, the Biafra man, to be treated, as a responsible, respectable gentleman. We want the Biafra man to raise his head in the Committee of Nations, any part of the world, anywhere in this country, anywhere in Africa. And that is why we should all support in the highest intensity, the efforts of our Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Adadiolamma. We should support her because our Prime Minister, Simon Ekpa made a very, very sound judgment to have appointed this woman, to have handed the baton down to her, even though he knew he was going for trial. He would be incarcerated. Ladies and gentlemen, rather than coming to tell, talk bad about Simon Ekpa because he's undergoing trial, rather than come here and try to, crucify him because he dared to say his mind. He dared to give Indigbo a voice, a formidable voice. Yes, he brought back Indigbo, brought back Biafra into the political landscape of the world, especially right from Finland. It will be very, 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 very sad. Totally, totally wrong. Yes, to throw away, the baby with the bad water. Ladies and gentlemen, my conclusion is if you feel, whoever feels that Simon Ekpa did anything to them or in any way was kind of very, by maybe youthful exuberance or in any way he acted too much or at any point he was overzealous for what he believed in Biafra and the redeclaration of the identity of Biafra. Ladies and gentlemen, you could have taken it easy. You get the baby out of the dirty water, rinse him very well, put the baby in a safe place, in a clean bath, and then you carry the bad water and you pour away. Nobody throws away the baby with the bad water. That is the closest simile I can see with what the Ohaneeze and NDIGBO, with what the indigenous people of Biafra, with all their so-called, they give a catalog of all the offenses that Simon Ekpa has done. Every time you sit with them to talk, with any of the executives, they reel out and roll out all the, whatever they think are the atrocities that Simon Ekpa, has done to Biafra. But I put it to you and I say to you all, with this mindset, we're not going to achieve anything in Biafra. If we continue to hate our own, if we continue to play divide and rule, if we say hate this one, like this one, if we begin to peep, if we begin to overshadow, if we begin to suspect unnaturally and unnecessarily, then of course we are killing Biafra even before it is born. Ladies and gentlemen, don't let any passion, don't let any prejudice, don't let any undue hatred and disregard for Simon Ekpa affect the redeclared United States of Biafra. We are fighting for the one and the same purpose. Don't hate Simon Ekpa because you want to love Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Don't say Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be released and Simon Ekpa incarcerated because you want to please the power that be. No, insist that your children, insist that the Biafrans that have been interrogated, that have been tried today, should be granted unconditional freedoms. They have done nothing. They are only fighting for the cause of their people. Yes, you can all imagine what happened on the 30th when that 30th was declared as the day we honor our dead heroes and heroines. All the Southeast governors made every effort to dance to the gallery of Emiloko. They tried, said all things, set up all kinds of military and paramilitary, set up the police, set up all security agents against our people who wanted to observe a day fit to honor our dead heroes and heroines. And to God be the glory. No Jupiter, no power, no soldier, no police, no paramilitary could stop that day from happening. And so it shall continue to be in Yahweh's name. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to cap it up here. The truth of the matter is, yes, I promised them I was going to highlight their opinion, but I've equally told them, look, gentlemen, it's not enough to form opinions. You should learn to have a broader, wider perspective. Don't look at things from just from a prism, one single angle. No, we don't acknowledge any fact that sees Biafra as a personality. No, we have always reiterated here, and we have sounded loud and clear that Biafra does not belong to anybody. It does not belong to any single individual. It is not personality oriented. No, Biafra is a way of life. Biafra is a decision of a people who decide on their own volition to make life better for themselves. Biafra is our way of life. Biafra is what we eat. Biafra is what we drink. Biafra is what we do. We don't just talk the talk. We walk the talk in Biafra. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow freedom lovers, I guess enough has been said about this. I don't want to overflog it so that it doesn't give any wrong conclusions. No. But let this truth be said. Simon Ekpa Alone is a brilliant, steadfast, honest, passionate, well-meaning agitator for Biafra. Just like our Muslim leader, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, is our leader, is passionate about Biafra and things concerning Biafra land. Two of them should never come to a point where we choose between the other. Two of them are same, chasing the same purpose. They might have different methodologies. They might have different, paraphernalias in their kitty, but they're chasing the same purpose. And that is where we stand. Don't see them as enemies. Don't create enmity between them. Don't pile undue acrimony between them. Instead, overview it all with love. See them, the two of them, as complementing one another. This one has the rhetorics. This one has the vigor and vitality. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has the rhetorics. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has the presence. But Simon Ekpa, our Prime Minister, brought the vigor. He brought the athleticism. He brought the power, and he brought the voice. Of course, he brought the soldier aspect. Yes, let me, for want of, let's just put it at that point. For now, he gave power to the voice. He gave power to the voice. Ladies and gentlemen, until I come your way again, stay fast, bless Vastra, Biafra always, and of course, please, all hands must be on deck. These are trying periods. These are times that, of course, all Biafrans must come together. All hands must be on deck. Biafra is in the news all the time, and this month of June, we're going to see how it's going to be resolved. We're seeing our Muslim leaders' trial, how it's going. We're seeing every other day, the prosecutors, muddling and fumbling, every step of the way. We are seeing the Defense Council under Chief Kanu Agabi, two-time Attorney General of this federation, and the son. We know we're in good hands. We know that Simon Ekpa is also, his trial has come on, but of course, Finland is also fumbling. Of course, touch not the Lord's anointed, and do my prophet no harm. So the Holy Book said, because when you do that, even though you come from one side, you run away from seven places. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. God bless the redeclared United States of Biafra. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Biafra must be restored, for there is nothing the enemies can do about it. You brought Biafra that light may come into Africa. You gave us hope because we are in a continent of hopelessness. And by thy grace, Biafra shall be restored. We shall be resurrected. We shall crown our efforts with the glory by the grace of the Most High Himself. We are not strong. We do not pretend to be strong. All we do is to submit ourselves to your will, that your will may be done upon our lives. We have lost many people. We have lost so many good people. Their sacrifice will never be forgotten. We shall honor them, and for their sake, Biafra will come. Because we are wandering all over the world, hoping against every hope that things will turn around for the better. It has never turned around for the better. Instead, it is getting worse. Please do not abandon your children. You have given us a commission, and we must accomplish it in our lifetime. Our enemies are equally important because they must listen. Those who do not love the truth must listen. Those who are beholden to darkness, they must also listen. For we are here to bring light upon a very darkened continent without Biafra. Africa is nothing without Biafra. There is no difference between a black man and a wild animal in the forest. We say it with every ounce of conviction. I welcome each and every one of you. If you're joining us for the very first time, this is Radio Biafra. This is how we do it. We magnify the name of the Most High before we do anything. That is why we are exceptionally formidable. That is why